Hi everyone, Craig here. Today I'm going to make a video on, hopefully, how to create a dungeon generator. Now I haven't done this before, so it's all going to be sort of on the fly, and we'll just see how it goes. It's going to be what I would call an advanced script tutorial, and I'm probably going to end up making heavy use of variables. So that's what it's going to be. And the idea is that we're going to create a bunch of different tiles which can be tiled together to create a dungeon that you can walk through, and it will have corridors, rooms, open spaces, etc. And then to generate within that dungeon, generate mob spawns, treasure chests, stuff like that. We'll just see how it goes. Might not be able to do it, we'll see. So what I have here is just a flat world, empty flat world. And what I'm going to do is just teleport down to the bottom here, and we'll get to the center. Let's put 500, 512, 525. This is just like a platform to start with from, really. I'm going to generate the dungeon off the ground so we can go under it if we need to and see anything that might need to be under it. I'll just create this platform here. So this is kind of where I'll work from. So what I'm going to do here is put a script block here and a switch. So hit the switch to generate the dungeon, and then hit the switch again to clear it. Okay, so this point here will be the start point for the generation, and the dungeon will just generate out towards this direction, which is in the positive Z direction, or north. And I will place the tiles down here at 0, 0, starting at 0, 0. So I'll create what we'll do is we'll create one tile to start with. One, two. So every tile will be the same size, and I'll make that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll make every tile 7 by 7 by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is it's wide enough for a corridor. It's high enough for what we need. It's going to be 7 blocks high, and if we need bigger spaces, we can just we can also generate open spaces where there'll just be no walls on the tile. So the first tile, in fact, is actually going to be just floor and roof. So the floor we'll make the floor, just at least for now, we'll make it white tile. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. to start with, we will make the empty room, we'll make it 4 high, so and we'll make the walls and the roof from I'll use limestone for now. So that's, if you like, that's an empty tile, which is just which we'll use for open rooms. And just to show you what I mean, I'll make another tile next door to it. And this tile will actually have posts. My X button's a bit stuck on my controller. Sometimes it gets stuck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 2 tiles. You don't have a headset, do you? You don't have a headset. You just turn the volume down a bit, because this is through the mic here, so it shouldn't pick up most of it. Sorry, somebody else was just wanting to watch a video. Anyway, okay, so those will be our default tiles to start with. So what we want to do is we want click this, you hit the switch and it will run a script to generate the dungeon. So I'm going to name all the scripts dungen, put them in the dungen folder, and the start script is going to be what is executed when we hit the button, hit the switch. And we're going to set up a bunch of stuff here, and then call the actual generate script. Right, so there's actually nothing to do here at the moment, so we will just go ahead and create this script here. We want to pass it through the start position. So what I'm going to do here is I've got a thing where I'm just going to use Notepad to edit the scripts, just because the Xbox stuff is a bit clunky. Okay, so we want to pass through the start position to generate, and we're going to call that gx, gy, gz. and that's just going to be the relative coordinate of the script block. For the X, it's actually going to be, because the tiles, we're going to generate the tiles at the bottom left corner, so we're just going to subtract, so let's just say 3, because the tiles are seven blocks wide. We can't actually have that exactly, so we'll just do 3. Y is going to be the same height as the script block, but we'll lower it by 1 because we want to actually just walk on. And Z is going to be 1 forward from the script block, so that's just going to be +1. So X, Y, Z, G, X, Y, Z is the starting position to generate. We pass that through to generate. And now we can actually edit the script. So we've got GX, GY, and GZ. Need to define those, declare those. And basically we're just going to do a copy region, and we're going to copy from, we'll copy the second tile because it has those 4 corner walls, so it'll just make it a bit clearer just for now anyway. 201. Actually, we will parameterize that just to make so we can change it later if we need to. So tile Y, actually we'll make this tile X, tile Y, tile Z, tile X1, tile Y1, tile Z1. In fact, I'm just going to call these TXs. So whenever you see a TX or a T variable, it stands for tile, rather than type it all out. TX2, TY2, TZ2, and we're going to copy that to GZ, GY, GX, GY, GZ. I'm going to just do this in Notepad as well. So TX, so this is going to be 7 because we're going to use the second tile. TY will be 201, which is the one above ground level. TZ1 equals 0. I'll explain this in a sec. Now we're also going to define TS, which is tile size, which is 7. So we'll actually make that TS. It'll be TS times whatever tile number we use. Actually, so let's call that TN. We'll set TN to 1. That's tile number. This will be that. This will be that. And 2 is just TX plus tile size minus 1. Because the tile size is 7, we want X plus 7 minus 1 because the first block is actually TX1, so 7 blocks including TX1 is actually TX1 plus TS minus 1. And these two are all the same. Y and Z, Y and Z, That's the same. So it's that there. And so in theory now, when we save that and save that, in theory it should copy this second tile here to here, right in front of us. And there we go. Perfect. So hopefully everybody understood that. So we've just taken a script block relative this coordinate here, rel x, y, z is this coordinate of the script block. So we've taken that. We've just subtracted 3 from the x, which is to our right on the screen. We've subtracted 1 from y to make it so the floor level is the same. The floor level is the same as the platform of the tile. Floor level of the tile is the same as the platform. So we can just step straight off the platform onto the tile. And z is +1 because it's 1 in the z direction, 1 north, so it's one forward from the script block. Then we call the generate script. We declare the x, y, and z starting point. Tile size is 7 by 7 by 7. Tile number we're going to paste is tile number 1. The first tile right in the corner is actually 0, so we're going to use a 0-based tile number system. So the first tile is 0, the second tile is number 1, etc. Tx1, Ty1, Tz1 is the start position of the copy, which is the tile, and x is the tile size times whatever tile number we're using, which is 7. Y is the ground level +1. Z is the bottom of the map, basically. And then Tx2, Ty2, Tz2 is just the Tx1s plus the tile size -1. And then we just copy that tile to the GX, GY, GZ position. Okay. And so now what we're going to want to do is take a random number. Let's say there's four different positions we can go. We can go north, south, east, or west. So we want 4 possible numbers. So rand 3 gives us a possible number of 0, 1, 2, or 3. I'm going to go if is var r equal to 0. Then we're going to go. We'll move to the. If it's 0, we'll move forward north, so that means we're going to we'll take a couple of temporary variables here. Gx2 equals Gx and Gz2 equals Gz. We don't have to worry about y at the moment because we're not going to be changing y. So if it's 0, we're going to move north, so we're going to add Gz2 equals Gz2 plus tile size. Else if it's 1, we will move south, so it's minus tile size. So if it's 2, we're going to move x. We're going to move x to the positive, so plus. And if it's 3, we'll move x to the negative, so east. And then we will we're going to need, I'll create a min z as well, so that, because we don't want the generator to come back and wipe out the platform. So we never want the dungeon to, we want the dungeon to be able to come back on the z direction, but we don't want it to be able to come back far enough where it can wipe out the dungeon, wipe out the platform. So what we'll do here, we'll add an extra test in here, so that's GZ is greater than min z. Alright, and we'll just set, just for now we'll just set, well this will change, but for now we'll set it to, this might seem kind of pointless to you, why create these second variables here when you're just going to create them up here and then just copy them straight back again down here. It's because I'm going to be using these, we're going to first, eventually we're going to actually test to see that we're not doubling back on ourselves, but I won't do that just yet. We'll just get the basics working first. So now we're going to, we also need a count variable up here, because we're going to stop generating after a certain count. So var counts equals +1 if var count less than, let's say 20, then loop. So once we've gone through this 20 times, it'll just end. Okay, I think that's what we'll do for now. I'll put a delay in the looping so we can actually see what's going on as it goes. And up here we'll put a commit just so to refresh the graphics as quickly as possible. Now in here we actually want to pass mz as well, min z, so min z can be it can actually just be gz. We can't just use gz because gz will change as the script generates, as the generate script loops. Gz will change, so we have to store the original value of it. and we might as well actually pass the count as well, so we can change that as we want. At the moment, I'll just make it equals 20. First one. So it doesn't appear to have worked at all. That's the wrong number. That's the wrong name. It should be, let's call it, we'll call it gen count. So you can see it's obviously it's doubled back on itself several times, because we haven't got 20 tiles here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 or 11 or 12 tiles there. Let's clear those. Okay, I want to do the clearing automatically now. I don't want to do it manually anymore, so we'll do that now. So we'll create a new script called gen clear, and what we will do here, we'll do a set region. And that is, we'll call that min-x, min-y, min-z, max-x, max-y, max-z. Block's going to be none, and there's no percent or C. Now we're going to we're going to get these values from history. So min-x equals this history. Dungeon Minix. Should do that. That should do for the clear script. Now we just need to actually set those history variables up, so we will do that in the start. We're actually going to do an out here. Minix min y z x max y max z. That one's going to have to change. Call that board Z for border. We'll set minx equals gx. And max x can be +7. And then at the end here we can now write them out to history. Minix So we initialize them here to the, so this is basically the bound that we're going to clear. This is just the only reason we're doing all this is just so we can automatically clear a generated dungeon. So this is the min xyz, the max xyz define the minimum and maximum boundaries or bound of the generated dungeon. So it initializes with the first tile. And then as we generate, we're going to expand these bounds out as the dungeon pushes out past that initial boundary. And the out means that we get these variables back after this script executes. We get these variables back, and we write them out to history. And then the clear script reads them from history to do the clear. Okay, fairly straightforward. What I will also do is I'm going to make a HUD counter here so we can see what the actual count is as we're generating the as we're generating the dungeon. So we'll call that gen, and we'll call that, so we're going to need to write that out to history as well, so we'll call that syshistory dungeon count 15 0.7 will do, and it can just be, it can be white and we'll have a label. And then we will delete that after it's finished. Now this needs to actually update that history. Dungeon counts equals count. And that can run clear. Now there's one more thing to do, and that is just double check all that stuff's there. Yeah, that's there. Yeah, that's there. So now we just need to actually, in here, we need to actually we can do it here. We need to, my X button's stuck. We need to push out those bounds if they're expanded. So if as var gx is less than min-x, then var min-x equals gx. So what that's doing is basically if the tile is, we're just expanding out the minimum bound as the generation goes. We need to do it for each coord, 2, 3, so that's, we need to do it for y. We don't actually strictly need to do it for y because we're not changing the y. We're not making the dungeon higher than one tile, but we'll do it just for completeness. And z. And we also need to do max as well. So this is all just so that we can automatically clear the dungeon after generating it. Just makes the development of the generator easier. I might actually spit this out into a separate script so it's not getting in the way here, but we'll do that. It's probably not. It's not such a big deal. So if gx is greater than maxx, then maxx equals gx. Z. Z, and that's y. Gx greater than maxx, and maxx equals gx. If g is y greater than max, y equals gy. So if g is greater than max, max equals gz. X greater than maxx, y is than y, and y is gy. Okay, that looks about right. Okay. Okay, so we change this to board will just get rid of that. I will get rid of the wires for now because we're not using them. I don't want to clutter up the script space too much. So we'll just do the X and Z boundaries. And that changes to all Z's. We will store the Y here. Okay, let's see how that goes. Didn't go too well at all, did it? It's still running. So gen count is 20. So I didn't create the cut. Did it create the HUD counter? No, I didn't. I didn't see actually. Dungeon count. Gym count. Mini mix. Index. Dungeon counts. Count. Okay, that looks alright. So it's not even creating the HUD counter, is it? Name, player, history, XYZ, XY scale. Is it because I need the colour in there, or? Oh yes, that was the problem. So you can see the top left has got the generation counter. It's still going up and nothing's happening, so that means it's going back on itself. So we want to try and, we're going to have to work, oh, was not supposed to do that. That's what the board Z was for, to try and stop that from happening, by trying to stop it from going back further than this line here, which it obviously didn't work. And that means I probably can't use the clear now because I'll wipe out the whole thing, so I'll have to do it manually here. So how did that happen? Ah, that's why. So board Z was actually, because I hadn't declared it, was actually 0, so that's the reason. Okay, so now we can set that to clear. So it shouldn't go back on itself now. I mean, it shouldn't go back past this line of the platform. So it's totally useless primitive generator at the moment. It basically just picks every loop, it just picks a random direction and just goes in that direction naively, irrespective of what else it's already done. So it just turns it back on itself. It's just completely random, completely uninteresting. But now we should have the bounds. So we've got the bounds here now. So we should now be able to delete that. It should just automatically clear. So it missed by what looks like right, okay. So the max bound is not set properly. So we'll just look at that. So here we're actually going to set that as plus the tile size. Tile size, and here we'll do the same. Okay, so that should at least fix that problem. So we now got an automatic clear, so we don't have to waste time manually clearing it every time we test a generation. Okay, so now we'll go back into the generate script. And so now what we want to do is we actually want to maybe not actually. I was thinking it would be better, it would generate better dungeons if we, whenever we pick a direction, we actually do 2 tiles in that direction, so that will kind of space it out more, have longer corridors. So to do that, we would down here we would only do this check here if the count even equals count modulus 2. So if even equals 0, then we take a new R value, otherwise we just use the same one from the previous run. In theory that should push out, make it sort of more spaced out. So you can see every time it generates one, it always does 2, at least 2 in the same direction. And you can see it's now quite more spaced out, it's quite more snaky, like more of a dungeon now. So that's with 20 generations, so let's bump that number up a bit. Let's make that 200 and see what happens. I'll also speed up the generation a little bit because it's quite slow at 1000 to make it 500. See, it's turned in on itself there. It's turning in on itself again somewhere. Here it is, popped out again there. Turned in on itself again there. That's actually really slow to watch. I'll just cancel that. It's not quite right there, is it? just make a loop every frame. It should be a lot faster than that. There we go, it's a lot faster. And that's finished all 200 there. So you can see it's kind of, I mean, it's a totally unintelligent, naive generator. But you can see it's still, there's a little bit of form there. It's actually not too bad. There's no, it's all connected. There's no loose bits anywhere. There's no bits you can't reach. Now if we try and, so that's it there. What I'll do actually is just to make that I might actually input this gen count. This tests if you just so that if say that the player just presses B on the input box, it'll equal 0, so then we'll set it to some default value. We'll set it to, say, default value 200. Let's make it 500. And we'll also do the same for the delay as well. We don't need to do that for the delay because the 0 delay is fine, so we'll pass the delay through as well. That's the delay between each iteration of the generator. Save that. Leave the delay on there. Now, if I just press backspace, it should just generate 500 with 0 delay, which it's done. Or else I can specify, let's say, 5,000 and a delay of, say, 100, so we can kind of see it generate. 5,000 with no delay. It's a lot faster. I might, just to make it easier to see, I've kind of messed up the ground block probably, but just so it's easier to see, we'll just replace this top level here. With a colour that actually stands out. Well, copper stands out, doesn't it? Doesn't affect the inside because you can't actually see it, but so 5,000, 0 delay. Okay, now you can see it a bit easier. So you can see how doing the double spacing, or the always doing two the same direction, it's really spaced it out, makes it much more natural. I've got no clue where it's gone now, but we'll wait for it to finish. So where did it actually go? Did it actually just feed back on itself? Or, but there's a reasonable sized dungeon. So it's still not, so ideally what we want to see, look, here's a couple of, there's like a side room which can be a treasure room, that's a dead end there, some dead ends. These ones here ideally would actually have a tile in the middle to make them an open, like a big room. So we would have like so here, for instance, if these were filled in, then we can and these were like cleared out, these pillars were cleared out, then we would have open areas. So let's, just to compare, we'll go and I'll take off that I'll take off that bit, this even bit here. We'll just actually just set that to 0 so it regenerates a new direction every loop rather than every second loop. See what difference it makes. So 5,000, no delay. So it's actually, have I done something wrong there, have I? It's still doing it every second time, isn't it? still doing at least 2, so I've done something wrong. Even equals 0. So it should always generate the new R. So what did I do wrong there? Nothing's wrong there. Let's just comment out this stuff altogether. There we go, that's what I was more expecting. So I'm not quite sure why it didn't work the first time. So you can see that's now making much more rooms. And it backs up on itself much more. Rooms are just too big. It's not really very dungeony. Okay, so it was definitely better the way it was before. So we'll reinstate that. Say 3000. Now we'll just have to think about what to do about these pretty horrible. Okay, what we'll do is we'll add in a test so that it can't loop back on itself. So when we go to in here, what we'll do is we'll test if is block if there is already a block there, it means we've already generated some dungeon there. So if that's the case, if it is none, then we will actually, so this is what I was talking about at the beginning, so we'll only actually set these variables to the new values if that where the new values point to is actually empty space, i.e. we haven't got a dungeon tile there already. Otherwise it'll just be, GX and GZ will just stay the same as they were before. And here we'll move that up here too. I'm just wondering if we need to, so we don't want to do the copy region again, right, if we're not actually moving. So we'll also create a variable up here called, one second, excuse me. We'll create a variable up here called, we'll just call it right, and it will be 0. So we'll only do the right if it's 0, otherwise we'll skip the right. Down here at the bottom here, we'll set right to 0 to 1. Well, here we'll set it to 0, which means we have a new position that we want to write out. Otherwise we don't have a new position. We just don't want to write. So this is just an optimization thing. It's just so we don't do the same copy over the same place over and over, because it's pointless because it's already there. So it's just a bit of code to make it stop it from copying it, because copies aren't, they're pretty expensive, they're not cheap. So if we want the dungeon to generate as fast as possible, we sometimes need to do things like this. We'll set right equal to 1 here, so right 1 means don't do the copy. Let's see if that in theory should stop it from going back in on itself too much, or it should stop it completely actually, I wonder. I'm guessing though it's going to corner itself and then it won't have any way out, so it'll just get stuck. Well, that was pretty pathetic, wasn't it? So it clearly hasn't worked. It went straight to 3000. So yes, right. If it's var right equals 0, do the copy. here. That's the wrong coordinate. That should be 2. That explains that. There we go. So you can see, okay, I'll slow that down for you because that might not be immediately obvious. So it's moving along. And you'll see from what just happened before, eventually it will corner itself and won't have anywhere to go because it now won't move forward if there's a tile already there. So you can see now it's locked in on itself and the gen count's not increasing. So we need to, it needs to, I think detecting all possible dead end situations will just be too complicated because we'll just have to look too far forward. So what we'll do is we'll just have a, we'll just keep a count of how many dead end tests true pass, and then once we get to a certain number, we'll just say that's it. We'll just let you overwrite and get out of the dead end situation. So var dead end equals dead end plus 1, and then here we'll say dead end is var dead end greater than, let's say 1, 2, we'll say 8. Then we'll set dead end back to 0, and we'll set right equal to 1, so it'll actually overwrite. No, right 0, sorry. And that should let it sort of recover, if you like, from a dead end situation. So you can see it's stuck in a dead end situation here, so once it gets to 8 it should allow itself to get out somehow. Hopefully. Doesn't appear to be, does it? Seems to be stuck still. So dead end is initially 0. We go down here, we do our test. If there's a block there already, we don't want to write, we want to set dead end equals dead end plus 1. If dead end is greater than 8, dead end equals 0, right equals 0. Okay, we need to do this as well. So I'll actually refactor that a little bit. What we'll do up here is we'll actually do this check up here. In fact, we'll do it here. Creating this success variable, so because we need because there's several different checks, so there's a check where if the block is empty, then that's success. We can move there because there's not a tile there already. If there is a block there, then we want to do the dead end test, because we don't, once it's dead ended for a while, we want to, if we want it to recover. So if the block's empty, then it's success. Else, if the dead end count is greater than 8, and we'll also set success to true there as well. I'm thinking of merging success and right. So success and do the update. Otherwise, don't need that. And this one we can probably put there as well. understanding that result. It seemed to go back in on itself far too frequently. So back down here, if the block is empty, success, that's definitely correct. Otherwise, if dead end is greater than 8, then then of course here we need the else it equals 0. So otherwise it's not even effective at all. So that's the reason. So now it shouldn't go back in on itself quite so frequently. So if we follow it now, it should hardly ever. There's one case, but it should hardly ever go through, get to the point where it needs to recover from a dead end. It should generally be able to work its way out. I mean, generally it should not get itself into that situation. It did then, I don't know why. There were plenty of other options there. Yes, it kind of needs to check where it's going, and also one more ahead as well. Okay, let's have a look at that. So here where it's doing the test, it kind of needs to test here. So I could do like, if I want to get pretty excessive here, I could go create these. Plus TS. So this is like going, one step ahead, like in the future. Two steps ahead, just to test that it's not going to. I think hopefully you know what I mean. So we can go here. And hopefully that's, because these are AND, right? It's the same as AND. When you've got two statements together like that, it's the same as AND. It's not an OR. There is no mechanism to do an OR at the moment in the script language, which is a little bit restricting. That's actually the reason I created the success variable. Because if there was an OR option, then I wouldn't have to use this variable to do this. I could just do the is block none or dead end greater than 8. But because I can't do that, that's the reason I created the success variable. It's mainly so I didn't have to write that code twice. Okay, so we're now testing 2 ahead of ourselves. I think we'll bump that up a little bit as well. Let's make it 16. And yeah, okay, let's try that. Okay, that seems to be working better. Hasn't gone in on itself yet. So it's not creating those little holes in the middle. Okay, so I'll speed that up now. So it's definitely better. There's less of these sort of things here. Looks like I'm going to have to break this video up into a number of parts. It looks like it's going to take a while to get this working properly. I don't know where it's gone now. It's probably okay. Okay, just as a, I'll close this off soon, but what I'll do is just before I do is we'll just try and put some walls in here. So what we'll do is to put walls in, we will I think we'll just generate a tile. Actually, I'll make it tough. Tile number is going to be 2. So if I do that, we should see now. Okay, so let's use the second tile, alright. So you'll have walls. Okay, so we'll stop that. My X button's stuck. Okay, so that means what we need to do now is we just need to, well, but we need to always get confused on that. Need to clear out the wall in the place where we just were on the previous tile and where it's coming from in the new tile. So let me think here. It needs to be, so wherever we so where we pick a new direction here. That's where we pick a new direction. We set the new coordinates into there. So at this point we have the new coordinates of the next tile, and so at this point in time, gx, gy, gz is the coordinates of the current tile, and gx2 and gx is the coordinate of the new tile that's about to be done. So what we want to do is I think what we'll do is so do the copy, basically based on R we will clear r equals 0, then we've come r equals 0 is we're incrementing z, so actually we don't even need to, so what we're going to do here is we're going to say var cx equals gx y z 1 2 and we're just going to do that. CZ2, CY1 is actually going to be GY plus 1 because we don't want to wipe out we don't want to clear the floor, and that's going to be TY2. That's going to be TY2 minus 1 because we don't want to wipe out the roof. And it's going to get complicated. Make that minus 2 for now. It will be plus 1. Oh no, it won't. It depends on the direction. Okay. So if we're coming from the north, so again, we only want to do this if right is true. If we are writing. So if we're coming from the north, then we want to set CX1 equals GX plus 1 because we don't want to wipe out the wall, and CX2 equals GX plus tile size minus 1, which is minus 2 because we don't want to wipe out the other side of the wall. And CZ is going to be GX, GZ minus 2, minus 1 actually. And CZ2 will be GZ, so we don't actually need that. R equals 1, R equals 2, R equals 3. So 1 is south. So this will be the CX1 and CX2 will be the same, so Z1 will be GZ minus TS plus 1, and CZ2 will be minus TS. Yep. What did I do there? That was stupid. Just overwrote what that should have been, which is, I'll put that in there. Actually I can reuse that. Okay, so that goes there. So south is GZ minus TS plus 1 minus TS GZ. No, I think that's because we've just copied to there, going south. It should actually be plus TS minus 1. It should be plus TS. If we're going north, it should be that's right. And then 2 is to the east. So we want, we've just gone to the east, so we want we actually want that. But for X and Z will be Z equals GZ plus 1, GZ plus TS minus 2. And for 3 we want going west. We actually want going west. We actually just want CX1 to equal GX minus 1. And this will be the same. So I think that's about right. I'll try, see what happens. kind of right. I've got the y wrong though. And that one's wrong. So let's fix the y first. So 0 is actually right. What I'll do is, if I push Z out plus one more, it'll stop the script block from being overwritten. And then here, just need to fix the y. CY1, CY2. So CY1, CY2 equals GY plus TS minus 3. Theory, that should fix that. Let's see. It's looking better. So it was just the height. That looks like it's the wrong side. Yeah, that one's definitely the wrong side. So it looks like the Z ones are right. The ones going in this direction. But the ones going in this direction look like they're wrong. Yeah, they're definitely wrong. I think I've got it around the other way. So if we go back and look at that. So I've said if R equals 2, if R equals 2, then dx equals, it's going west. X is increasing. So if R is 2, then yeah, I've got them around the wrong way, I think. We put that there, and that there. Hopefully that fixes it. looks like that's fixed it. Excuse me. So we just have to wait for it to recover from dead end here. Didn't recover that properly though. What's happened here? It's got itself a bit stuck in here. I'll just run it at full speed because this is a bit slow. Okay, and just before I shut this down for today, we will just add a couple of random torches. torches here. Trial and error to get the right orientation for the torch. It looks like it's right there. Still haven't got that right though. That's heading west, which I believe is GX. Here's 2. West is 2. So back up here. That's GX. X plus 1. Plus probably plus 2, I think. That'll be GX minus plus 2x. Minus 1 is the edge. GX plus 1. I think that's about it. So clearly this is not suitable, it's just it's kind of like a secret wall thing, isn't it? But it just gives you an idea of one way we can actually generate torches. So this stuff here, next time we'll try and find out a way to fill in these little holes here, and then we make big rooms. So it would be a room like, for instance, if I take this tile here. So where's a more interesting one? Let's say here. Okay, I think I'll wrap that up here because it's getting long, and next time we'll try and improve it some more, try and generate these bigger rooms and look at some others, what else we can do. I'll try and think of something we can do so I can actually show more use of the actual scripting rather than just the mechanics of generating a dungeon. Hopefully. I still need to work out why that doesn't always work as well. I think it's something to do with this business here. I think it's not ideal. So or is it just that that's now such a big area that it doesn't actually let me do it? Over that edge. That's probably why. Oopsies. I just lost the whole thing then. Did I or not? No, I didn't. Hopefully that didn't wipe out my tiles. I should have done. Alright, wrap it up there for now. See you next time. Cheers.